Another struggling Chinese electric car brand has stopped production. But unfortunately, at the same time, there is zombie car manufacturers in China, ones that basically are almost pretty much bankrupt, who are trying to be revived. They're trying to kickstart manufacturing, really just bringing more debt into the automotive industry. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Airways and other struggling electric car manufacturers in China they've been hitting some big problems, but people are starting to call these automakers zombie car manufacturers for good reason. Now, Airways halted production last year and stopped paying its staff. So a lot of its staff have done months of work and they haven't been paid. Airways, though, is among at least 3 virtually bankrupt, struggling Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers that are apparently getting a new lease on life after the industry was touted as a new productive force in a slogan by President Xi Jinping to promote the development of advanced technology. In other words, the Chinese government is propping up these zombie car companies. I think this is a terrible idea, and the reason being, there's 90 electric car manufacturers in China. They're going to prop up all 90 of them? It doesn't make sense. Now, this is the real reason why NIO, XPeng, and other Chinese manufacturers are saying these zombie car companies need to do joint ventures. They need to join up with other manufacturers because they are kind of a joke on their own. They are just hurting the industry. Airways, whose push into Europe with the U5 EV stalled because of low sales, halted production and stopped paying workers mid last year. The company is now wanting to resume production after fresh funding from the Chinese government and will focus on exports rather than the domestic market, according to local media reports. So basically, the Chinese government are saying, you know what? You guys are basically dead as a company, but if you send cars to China, if you send cars to Europe at very affordable prices, we'll pay you for every one you send. And it's been reported by the European Union Commission that the Chinese government are actually directly paying into Airways bank accounts transfers of money, right? Transfers of money for every car they sell into Europe. Now, Zeekr Electric Vehicles, a maker of micro EVs that went bankrupt in 2019, said it had completed a restructuring with the help of AIMA Technology Group and automaker Geely. It has resumed production and will launch a new EV called the Zeekr Rainbow in April. Hamer Automobile, which had been losing money and was on the verge of bankruptcy after very poor sales for years, in January transferred its management and assets to an entity backed by the Zhengzhou municipal government in central China, where the automaker has been producing the EX00 electric minivan. Now, this is another case of a state government propping up an automaker, what is considered a zombie car company. New productive force became a buzzword during this year's National People's Congress by the Chinese government and was defined by state news agency Xinhua as high efficiency and high quality production that's mainly driven by technological innovation, not by state funds, in contrast to conventional production that relies on large amounts of investment. Lots of catchphrases here, lots of communist buzzwords that are coming from the communist government. The term popped up in the resurrection of both Zeekr and Hamer. And apparently the new person who's going to be running Zeekr, the new factory, has said in a very excited promotional piece that there are new productive forces at play. Anyway, meantime, the government of Zhengzhou, the new home of Hamer Auto, said it's building up its new productive forces, with one being the creation of an EV manufacturing base with a goal of reaching annual production capacity of 1.4 million cars and sending a lot of those outside of China to obviously try to play a big role in China's goal to dominate the automotive industry outside of the country. The revival of the trio of zombie car manufacturers or zombie EV makers is a risky bet, says Automotive News, in China's crowded and hyper-competitive auto market. I mean, the truth is right now that almost none of these manufacturers are making a profit selling cars, and they haven't for a single quarter in any year of their existence. Only a third of the top dozen manufacturers hit their sales targets last year. And the industry has been embroiled in a bruising price war that is having a huge effect on these automakers, putting them into positions where they are struggling to pay staff. And it's not these three car makers that I'm talking about, it's many. These are just three of many. The government has also sent mixed messages, with a senior official earlier this year criticizing state authorities for excessive investments in the EV industry, for basically propping up these zombie car companies. One danger, says Automotive News, for any local government backers is whether EV manufacturers that are resurrected can ever actually become a positive impact on the economy. Will they just be a drag on municipal forces, putting these state governments and even the entire Chinese government into more debt? Now, China does have a lot of debt currently. If you have a look at what's happened recently, we've had the biggest property developer in the world, Evergrande, basically go down into bankruptcy, owing about $600 billion. And they're not the only ones. There's been a spate of developers in China go bankrupt. My concern is here. Too much state funding propping up these zombie manufacturers is not good in the long term. And my concerns are, I don't think they're unfounded. I think there's a lot of CEOs, a lot of car companies saying that this is a serious problem in China. Thanks for watching.